John Lee here with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. Today's the Friday the 13th, lucky day. Good to see you. All the lucky ones are here today. So good to see you. Hi, Fabian. How's it going? Hey, Jay. How's it going?
Going
Good to see
good, John.
you
What
guys.
about you?
Going good, John. Thanks.
Yeah, good. Let me turn my volume up. Here we are. Okay. Yeah, we'll get started. Let's see. Just a couple of things. I don't really have a lot of announcements. We do have a good meeting coming up on Tuesday. Our monthly meeting that's on the 17th with cost segregation. They're coming in strictly for our group to show us how to save some money on our investments. So if you own any kind of real estate investment, you want to be sure, properties, you want to be sure you tune in for that because they have some ways you'll get some that show us to get some tax credits and some deductions right off the top of our income taxes that things that we claim. And this is they hadn't talked to us in a while, and I was really kind of thrilled they were coming in. They're coming in from Utah. That's where they're based out of. Cost Segregation Authority is the name of their company, and they're a nationwide company. They're actually a CPA firm. So if you do happen to be a CPA or anyone that's a CPA, you can actually get some continuing education credits for them. So I know a lot of us with our professional licenses have to pay for some of that stuff, but that's something that they will offer for our group. So if you might want to invite anybody it's a CPA. Other than that we are coming up on the fourth quarter of the year. So hopefully you've got your goals are right in line with what you had for the year and you're 3/4 of the way there. If not, I'd say you still got a little bit of time, but it's time to start getting serious about all that. Other than that, I don't think I have a lot more. We'll let Laura do our disclaimer, and then we can get started here. Laura?
All righty. Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have in need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Catherine Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, there we go. A little technical difficulties. Good to see everybody today. Zoom changes any more things this week. I don't know if I'm going to have it. It seems like they keep changing our settings on us here. So anyways, anybody have anything they'd like to share with us today? Get us started here. We're just coming off of our tax sale month in Missouri here, which was kind of exciting. I know hopefully you guys all got your list together. I was just talking to my other group the other day. I got 66 county list here, and I've only had a chance to look at 2 of them so far. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me here. So I see Laura up there. How you doing, Laura Liddington? I see Christopher. He just joined us. Good to see you guys.
Hi,
How are you?
fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Is that a piano back there behind you, Christopher?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My dad used to be a piano tuner. I grew up around music, so I always noticed that.
Yeah, my kids play the piano.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay, does anybody want to start us off? Anybody have anything they were looking for or they want to sell? I guess. I know a lot of us are looking for stuff. Did you ever find anything, Jay? I know you were looking for a project a few weeks ago. Last time we seen you.
No, I didn't. There was someone that was referred to me, but when I looked at it, it was like crumbling down. So that was a little too much for me. I am looking for in the St. Louis and surrounding area. I am looking for a fix and flip that I can do. The worst shape it's in the possible, as long as it isn't crumbling, that I can actually get into it and we can do something with it. Also, I'm a private money lender. I find funds for fix and flips, fix and keeps, and refi reboots. I also find repairs for commercial and multifamily. Matter of fact, anything that is real estate, let these Roman fingers do the Roman for you. I can find you funds. So thank you, John.
Nice. And how would people get a hold of you, Jay, if they either
Oh,
have a
yep, I'll
house
put
to
my
fix it up?
stuff in the chat as well, but they can call me at 636-338-1246. Once again, that's 636-338-1246. And like I said, I'll put my information in the chat as well.
Okay, now was there any certain neighborhoods you were looking at, Jay? You said St. Louis.
Anywhere in the St. Louis or surrounding area, which includes Troy, what's that town outside of Troy? That's between uh, that's between Troy and St. Louis. It's a big town.
Okay, you're talking about Troy, Missouri, not Troy,
Yeah,
Illinois.
Troy, Missouri.
Okay, like a Wentzville or somewhere like that.
Winsville, that's it. Yeah,
Okay,
Winsville.
good.
Anything within a 50-mile radius of the St. Louis proper.
Okay. And you're looking to buy something cash. You're not looking for a takeover payments or something like that, correct?
Yeah, something cash.
Okay. Okay. And there was no certain dollar amount, if I remember right, just you were looking for the project.
They gotta be a good deal.
Right.
Gotta be a good deal. But yeah, that doesn't matter how much.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything they'd like to share today? Okay, I've got kind of an interesting thing I'll share. I know I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I had somebody that cloned one of my companies and put a house up for sale that I own that does not own it. Actually had it listed with a realtor, and that just ran out. And now, yeah, they put it on Zillow. That's how I found it. And I've been dealing with. It's really hard to find the right agency that wants to deal with it. Attorney General is where I'm at right now. They didn't really work with the real estate commission, but it's very interesting. They put it up for sale on Zillow, but they got a realtor, a company to go out and take pictures of the house. This was one that was not even listed or anything, and then put it up for sale. And I've been in touch with them kind of underhandedly, but I think they might have found me out now. But I was trying to get them to send me a contract, but they're looking for a non-refundable deposit. So I'll kind of let you know how that all plays out without saying too much, too many more details. But I've never seen that quite happen like that. But they actually opened up a company with the exact same name in Nevada, which the name of the company is just it's not real common, and there's not another one in the country like it. So that was pretty interesting. And then they have a fake website that they use on their email and and a couple other things. So kind of an interesting situation. I don't know if anybody's ever had it. We've all heard of people stealing properties and putting liens and stuff on there. So what I'm actually thinking about doing, I'm actually thinking about taking out a mortgage with one of my other companies. So if it would even come down to it, they would have to pay me off to begin with. So that's a little backwards kind of way of doing it. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this yet, but I'll kind of let you know as this develops over the next couple of months or however long it takes. Very interesting situation. I've had a lot of things happen over the years, but never something like this.
Hey, John, that is interesting. Is the real estate broker or real estate agency, is it one of those like flat fee listing services? I bet.
No, actually, he went out and did it. Was based on commission. I talked to the guy actually back
Okay.
in July, and he didn't know either because he said he checked
Right.
him out, and it said it was still the Heartland, on and which is on the title on the own as the owner. So he didn't think much about it because he said he deals with people all the time that from out of state, which of course they do.
Yeah.
I was pretty upset when I first did it, and I mean I sat there and I wasn't real happy about it, and then the more we dug into it, then I found out he was scammed too at the same time because I was ready to go to the real estate commission against that guy, but he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
I was
on the
wondering.
MLS though.
Yeah, I
I
was
mean,
wondering if it was like a real human an agent, how that would have come about. But yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he probably absolutely thought it was all legit too.
mhm.
Well, I
Very
hope
interesting.
it's
Yeah.
straightened out. Yeah.
So I'll let you know how it plays out. That's probably a whole story in itself when it's all said and done, but that's something we could probably all use to know how that came about.
Is that real estate agent able to give you or whoever, like the authorities, the contact information for who they're dealing with as the quote unquote seller?
He shared that with me. Yes, I have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he forwarded me the copy of the email and everything he went through, and yeah, he just he was as shocked as I was, when
Yeah.
he found that
Wow.
out. And now the listing is run out. I don't know if it was a 3-month listing or whatever it was, but it just ran out. And now it's for sale by owner, which is another guy's contact, which is out of state, which is very interesting because I went and I immediately said, well, I'm interested in it. And he was supposed to send me a contract 2 days ago because I'm trying to get as much as I can. And but he has not sent it. I think he might have looked it up and found out now. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I used a different company, one of my other companies, trying to get a contract, but nothing yet.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Mhm.
I feel very pressed for time. Otherwise, I would maybe somebody would, be willing to like go, someone that's not you or one of your companies would be able to just go independently try to make an offer, being in cahoots with you, obviously, but
Mhm.
someone, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. It's just interesting, but good luck on that. And yeah, I was thinking like, well, if the realtor knows that it's not legit, then they won't sell the house to anybody. But I see what you're saying, that it's for sale by owner now.
Well, what I did with him right away is it's kind of interesting because the house is probably worth 100 grand or so, but they had it listed at 35 and then they reduced it to 30. I just happened to be on there doing something else and I decided to look at the value. So what we did is we raised it up to 129,000. Just made it 100,000 more than what the guy even wanted for it, just to see if he would even say anything. But the guy never said anything, and then the listing ran out. So that's kind of what we were doing. So that's where I inquired about it, just to see. And I made an offer, and the guy was going to send me a contract, but he never did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
he had a docu-sign he was going to send. I said, "Yeah, please send that," because that's federal laws as much as state laws.
Yeah. That's
But
cool.
nothing yet. He's wanting a $5,000 non-refundable deposit. I said, "Well, send me a contract."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Nice.
so
Yeah, John, let me know who he is, cause I'll buy it.
okay.
No, but let me know and I'll work with you on finding out who they are.
Okay. Okay. I'll send you a link to it. You just check
Okay.
it out and see what you think. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, very interesting situation, but that's something though too. If you have your properties in LLCs or in corporations, you may want to just check on them now and then. Just go look them up on Zillow because that's how I found it. I was doing something else there, and I decided to look at that because I was working with somebody else on another project, and I just decided I hadn't looked at that property in a while to see what their value was because they fluctuate, and it's always it's never a bad idea just to see what they say, even though Zillow, I give them about as much credibility as I do myself without looking at the property, which is not very much. You got to kind of have an idea, be a little bit informed. I used to say, in fact, I used to joke about it. If I could get 50% of what Zillow said for my properties, for all of them straight across, I'd sell it to them and walk away. Because some of them were way higher, some of them were way less, but overall 50% would have been pretty good. This is back in 2012, 13 when they were really way off. Nowadays they're a little bit closer, but I don't think they're much closer, honestly. I mean, Because as we know, properties are done on an individual basis. You know, they're all, it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks until you go look at it. So, okay, Jay, yeah, I'll be happy to send you a link on that after a while too.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Thank you.
John, I have a question. I
Sure.
was wondering, did they go to the county where the property is and change it to their name and address? Or is it still your name and address?
It's still my name. They cloned my property, my company name, and opened it up in Nevada because Nevada supposedly, I know people used to teach courses on that for anonymity. You can be anonymous by opening up a company there. But when the guy went to the, in fact, that's another thing people teach too, is you can sell, you know, get properties under contract without ever going there out of state, and then you get a local realtor to go there and take your pictures for you and list it through them. I mean, I've seen all them kind of, you know, things going on like that, but this is an actual fraudulent deal. And they did not change the name because when the realtor would look it up, it would say Heartland, you know, Highways, my name right there. And they went right down to the exact name, but just opened up a clone, I call it clone corporation in Nevada. And
So, but did they change the address in the county where the property is?
no, they went to the realtor. The realtor would just look up the owner and see that the
Oh.
name was the same. I mean, they wouldn't necessarily see that it was somewhere else. And even if a lot of times what the county has is just where the taxing entity pays for it. That's the address a lot of times listed. It's not even the true owner a lot of times that I found with it. So that wouldn't be like a huge red flag because people and realtors and all of us, even investors, deal with people out of town and out of state all the time. So that wouldn't necessarily be something unusual, you know, because if the name's the same, they look it up, you know, not a big deal. You just fill out the contract and move on, you know.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting story, however it pans out. I wish they would have bought it for 100,000 more than they had it listed for, and I'd walk away. You know, I'd take that. But then again, he, you know, like I was talking to the realtor, he said, well, they have to show up at the title company, but not necessarily the way they're doing it. If they just make, you know, if they get their $5,000 non-refundable deposit, how many times can they do that and nobody's going to go after them? Because one of the things I found out is even the attorney general doesn't have a big interest in going after a lot of these people. You know, they do not. And in $5,000 isn't enough to be earth shattering for, you know, for them to even do it, you know, necessarily. Now that's a lot of money for somebody to just lose. So, and I'm trying to end that right now. So I'll let you know, but I'm thinking about taking out a mortgage through one of my other companies and putting a big lien on the property. And even taking it over from one of my other companies. And that'll, you know, that would at least screw up the title once people look at it. So I'm really looking, and we were talking about that on the way home yesterday when we were driving, just kind of brainstorm. I'm thinking about maybe doing that on all my properties that are free and clear. Just put a mortgage on there to where nobody could even do anything unless they get it cleared. And of course I could do a deed of release to my other company without even worrying about it. So that's just something I got in the back of my head right now, a way to protect your properties down the road. I'll let you know what I end up doing with it. It's a very interesting situation I've never come across. So anyway, that's my bit of fun we've been having lately. So I throw that out there while we had a minute. So anybody looking to sell anything that they actually own? Laura, how'd your deal come out down in Hillsborough? I know you were working on that the last time we seen you. Did that
Sorry, did you ask me?
yes. I'm
Down
sorry.
in,
Wasn't that
oh
Hillsborough?
no, but I
House
must have,
Springs.
no, keep going. Jefferson County though, yeah.
High
Um,
Ridge, maybe.
High
Yeah.
Ridge, thank you.
There we go.
That deal gave me PTSD, so I
Oh no.
blocked it. I no longer own the building. No. It worked out fine. We did end up selling it. We made a profit and everything. So yeah, it all worked out fine. at the end of the day, not sure it was worth the work I went through. But yeah, we absolutely got it sold, and sold it to an owner of a daycare that had some other facilities. Seems like a super legit business and daycare owner, and I think she was opening like her 4th facility or something like that. So yeah, it really turned out well at the end of the day. There was just a whole lot of plan A and plan B didn't work out for our long-term hold. So we went to, plan C, and, took some months to get there, but it did work out. And happy to have it in the rear view mirror right now. But to that end, though, I mean, I am still a buyer looking for multifamily. I believe that by the end of today, I believe with 99% of my whole heart, I will have a 4-family under contract. Signatures are not on paper yet, but literally going to send that out here the next hour. But I'm, it's only 4, and I'm grateful for it, but my partner and I are looking for more, as in buyers for a long-term hold. So, I've thrown it out there before, but if anybody knows of any, multifamily apartments, mixed use we'll look at, but really looking just for that commercial, residential, multifamily type of stuff. We're definitely in buying mode, so would love to know about it.
And how would people get a hold of you, Laura?
Yeah, great. I'll put my everything in the chat, of course, but my phone number is area code 719-648-8365. 719-648-8365. And then my email address is my name. It's Laura, Laura .c as in cat, .Lennington, Lennington, @gmail.com. Yep. Multifamily, please.
Yeah, and is there any certain amount of like rehab that you're looking at? I know you look at value add a lot of times, depending on what it is, but is there any certain amount of dollar amounts or anything else on your criteria, Linda?
Yeah, absolutely. So we would buy something that needed some rehab, kind of like what Jay mentioned, not interested in the things that are sort of crumbling. I mean, it's just that is great for a lot of people. That's not really where our skill set is. But yeah, we could take things that need work. We'd like to stick to cosmetics or more basic things. If it needs a roof or things like that, great, no big deal. But some important criteria that I will definitely be looking at would be rent potential. So we're pretty dedicated to wanting to buy property that would have a rent potential of a minimum of $900 to $1,000 a door. It doesn't have to be doing that day one. And we may have a little bit of leeway, but that's the aim, is that the units would be able to rent for $900 to $1,000 per door on average within, I'd say, 1 to 2 years would be the idea. So what else? I mean, really the bigger the better. We'll buy the smaller things like quads. That's no problem, but I would love to take down like a 20 to 30 unit building if possible. We have a relationship with a bank and other high net worth individuals to where if I needed to do a partnership to get that done, I would. And we also buy turnkey, right? So the one that we're looking at putting under contract today is, whoa, pretty turnkey. I don't know. My whole house just vibrated. So maybe we just had a little earthquake or something, but anyway, turnkey is fine. But then we would want to see if we could get some other favorable terms like seller financing, something like that, if it's not something where we can do a value add right away. And I have tons of experience with buying on seller financing and performing 100% on all of those transactions. So if anybody's got anything, I could go down that rabbit hole with you and let you know my history and what we're up to.
Now, are there any certain areas that you are favorable towards more than others, Laura? Or are you pretty open?
We're pretty open. I mean, we do avoid North City, but also like our rent criteria typically keeps us out of that area anyway, wanting to be 900 to 1,000 a month. But yeah, I mean, as far as South City, we're definitely open to South City, and it's just sort of hit and miss. We just do want it to feel like a good stable block, also with the understanding that it's all about the numbers and it is St. Louis. So we'll look at anything for the most part. As long as it has that potential to hit those $900 to $1,000 rents.
And then maybe not so much towards the mixed use. Is that correct too?
Yeah, I would look at mixed use. For example, I have one on my radar right now, but it's got like 5 commercial units or 4 and only like 11 residentials. So mixed use, I'd be a lot more interested in that if it was like 1 or 2 commercial spots and then say maybe, 10 plus residential spots, something like that. But again, I'd like to just look at, I don't want to take too much off the table if it's a super solid opportunity. But yeah, that the mixed use is sort of, I'm just like kind of got a keener eye as to what we'd want to take on in terms of the mix.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's very, very helpful. I know mixed use is a whole different deal than than just strictly multifamily. So
Yeah,
other
yeah. It
stuff.
seems like in Jefferson County, it was like the Wild West. I just felt like the county could say whatever they wanted about it, whether it was in writing or not. So I don't know how St. Louis County or city would be about it. If it's something where there's tenants in place and we've got a very clear laid out strategy on who's renting, what type of business, long-term longevity, all that stuff, then I'm very open still to mixed use. But yeah, the other one we bought was vacant on the non-residential units, and I don't know. I'd have to do a whole lot more due diligence next time before I'd actually buy. But I know that there's good opportunity out there. I do know that. So definitely open to it on some level.
Yeah, it's funny you talked about Jefferson County because I know they're even different than some of the other counties because we still got some places in some of the smaller towns. They don't even do inspections on any of the stuff there. I mean, everything's just fine, but then you'll deal with like maybe St. Louis County or Jefferson or like that. And like you said, they're the Wild West. Even with tenants in place, they come in and they change some of the stuff. And I know we had the inspector from St. Louis County back a few months ago, came to our main event and he was talking about, like ways to even talk to them. You don't come in and say, well, how about if we go with the grandfather clauses? They hate that word. It's just existing codes, is how the correct way to even talk to them, which is that just opened my eyes to a whole different way to even talk to the people. And if you're dealing with mixed use, and there's tenants in place, they're already maybe used to dealing with them, maybe not. Some of them already have a bad reputation. Some of them they like, some of them they don't like. Some of them look the wrong way at their dog. I don't know. There's just all kinds of stuff, reasons they do stuff. And people always say, it's not personal, but my experience is really everything is personal. In the long run, you can say what you want, but if somebody rubs you the wrong way, it's personal,
Yep. I think, yeah, we get clouded by our interactions with people and how they make us feel and things like that. So yeah, I totally get it. No, that's so true. I mean, I know with our, our inspector for our apartment building, I mean, we do have a very particular way, and it's built on respect and like wanting to do things right and everything, but we do speak strategically to the inspector. And, it seems like we get a new one every 6 months. We don't have a lot of turnover anymore, so it's not that big of a deal, but yeah, it's just always kind of figuring out the personality of the new person so that you can really work with them and figure out how they are best able to work with you. So yeah, it's definitely not off the table. And you're so right, John. It's just really about like understanding the culture. And I really, again, because this other one was in Jefferson County, I do feel like we'd have a much probably better, I guess, I could be wrong, more refined culture of in St. Louis County and city. There's just so much more going on. And I would hope that they would be a little bit more married to like their existing regulations rather than just determining things at like their desk or on the phone. Like, I don't know. It was just a little odd how and I met another St. Louis area investor who had bought property down there as well. And when we started comparing notes, it was just really crazy at like, it wasn't like us. It wasn't like we were like bad owners or like, even though we could have done more due diligence, I guess, like even these other people did more and they were still getting the rules changed up on them and things. So anyway, it's just, yeah, very interesting, but, I would love I would love to buy more property in St. Louis County and city for sure. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Laura. Yeah, some great insights there.
And we know that that High Ridge deal, we still bought it right and we still made money. So was it worth the time? Maybe not, but at the end of the day, we did fine. So
Oh, you got some valuable lessons too, it sounds like too, because I know every deal, the learning is in the doing, as you know. I mean, you can look at everything on paper, but until you get in there, and in fact, we were talking about that this morning, probably 99% of the deals don't go exactly as planned, but you adjust and continue and you just figure it out as you go along. And that's huge right there. So as long as you have your end goal in mind, you can kind of work towards that, and it may not be a straight line to get there on what you thought, but you can get there nonetheless.
yeah, absolutely. And we bought that seller financed. And the owner we wrapped a loan that she had with her dad. We wrapped a loan. So like we were like indebted to real people who had their real money on the line, not banks. And then we had all these challenges. And it really, I really did come away with like a lot of self-confidence that when the going gets tough, I proved to myself once again, me and my partners, we will get it figured out and we will do what we said we were going to do. So, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, glad it's in the right hands now with a business that can really make it work, to their advantage. So.
Yeah, that's great. And it sounds like somebody that's used to dealing with kind of commercial type properties. So
Yeah, and that property was a daycare previously, and I think that's the key, that the county was going to be a lot more forgiving and easygoing with a business that had the business type that was in there most recently. So it was really key that we found a daycare. So yeah, my understanding is it was going to be much smoother for them.
that's great. Love to hear that, Laura.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep. I was just curious about that. I'm glad you shared that with us.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking.
All right, good conversations. Anybody else have anything you'd like to share with us today? You haven't had a lot of stuff for sale lately, I've noticed. A few people looking to buy some things. And I guess it's like a lot of the times you just have to get out there and find the deals, because when when everybody's selling stuff, it's easy to, easy to find stuff, but you got to look a little bit more right now, I think, to find the deals. The deals are still out there though. I know we looked at Laura and I went and looked at my wife. Laura and I went and looked at a bunch of properties, that we got from Madison County, Missouri, down here. It's a small county. They don't have a lot of tax properties, but we went and looked at them. And one of the things they do different, I know we kind of talked about that the last couple of months, but every county is different. All 115 entities basically does whatever they want. And one of the things that the collector did different down there is she allowed people to make one payment to keep them off the tax sale or the day, even up to the day of the sale, where most counties in Missouri, you have to have your, by the end of May, you have to have made a payment to keep it out of the tax sale. I've dealt with them both ways, but that was very interesting. We went around and looked at a lot of the properties. They only had, a few of them, but almost every one of them, they let make a payment like the Friday before or the week before, which was very interesting. Now, saying all that, those are still possibly good places to look for possible deals, because the people probably still have a reason they didn't pay the other 2 or 3 or 4 years of back taxes. So those are, a lot of people overlooked some of those that are behind on their taxes. But my experience is they have other things going on even besides that. And those are usually good opportunities. So one of the things that I like to do is look at a neighborhood where maybe I'll go see a property like that, one like that, but then go ahead and look up the other ones in the neighborhood. Because a lot of times, what they say, the birds of a feather flock together, and that's my experience with them too. Is a lot of times if you find one in one neighborhood that's maybe a little behind on taxes, look at the other people there. That's kind of how we find some off-market deals a lot of times. I see Paul joined us up there. Morning, Paul. We got you, Linda, smiling up there too. She looks like she's on the beach somewhere. Good to see you guys. And anybody else have anything? Anybody looking for anything? Anything else? Or does anybody have anything for sale?
I don't have anything for sale. This is Princess speaking, everyone. Hi.
Hi, Brent.
I made sure to take notes of everything that Laura was mentioning, though. And I was trying to see if I had a referral link, but I don't see one at the moment. If anyone else, I don't know if there's any other like wholesalers in the groups or anyone who's starting off with real estate investing, but I currently use the service Batch Leads, and they pull pretty good data so far. But now they have switched the plan, so I'm not at my renewal yet. It'll be coming within like the next week or so. But originally you would get like 250 skip traces for properties. Now they are changing the plan, so however many leads you pull to like find information, the contact information automatically comes with that, and you get up to 10,000 leads. And the price is just about $20 more. So just in case someone was looking for, a software to start off with, I was just letting them know that that is something that I would recommend that I've tried so far.
And who is that with, Princess?
Batch Leads, I don't know. I know Pace Morby's little sister works for the company, but I don't know who actually is the data software owner. But I know they've been around, I guess, for a little while now, for a few years at least. But I would say maybe something, if someone is using some type of software, maybe a competitor would be like a PropStream or Propelio or something of the sort, like PropWire. They don't have any free plans, but they do start off now, I think, at that $120 mark or $119.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I personally have never really used a data service. I've always found if you just spend some time, there's plenty of things to find out there. And
That's nice. So do you typically go through public record then, John? I know
Public
you're really
records
good
is
at
a
the
good-
courts.
yeah, that's a good place. Public records are always good. I always like just looking at, I like starting with the people that are behind on their taxes that are not even close to the tax sale. Tax sales are always good. As far as I'm concerned, I've never been to a sale, but I like the properties you can buy over the counter, but I like dealing with the people before they get there. And one of the things that I found that I like, Princess, and once you start looking, I kind of mentioned that you look in the neighborhood, if you find somebody coming up to the tax sale, just look at maybe some of the other neighbors that are only maybe 1 year behind or not even a full year behind that were maybe due in December. A lot of times they're just starting to have something go on, because usually that's not the only thing going on in their life. There's usually other things. And just going there with the intention of being the problem solver. I know we've talked a lot about people that, we used to, not so much now, but it could come up again. People that are upside down on their properties, which means they owe more money than they could actually get for it, more than it's worth. And those have always been a good source, because there's like 12 different ways that we came up with this many years ago, but and it would still apply today. Ways you can make money and make it work for everybody when people are when they owe more than what they can get for their property. You can still make them cash flow. So that's always, something to keep in mind too. I mean, you can get into all kinds of stuff. I know there's a lot of good software services and people out there you can get information from. But my thing was never getting the information. It's getting the deals done, being the problem solver. That's really what it boils down to, is figuring out a way to solve the problem. And I know Laura Linnington, she's really good at solving the problem. And, like she was kind of mentioning, maybe she didn't make as much money or the deal didn't go quite the way she wanted down there in High Ridge, but you can still get the deal done to where everybody wins. And that's, I think, the bottom line. A lot of us get tied up on data and on interest rates and values and prices and all that kind of stuff. But if the deal makes sense, I mean, I've over the years, people would complain about interest rates and that kind of stuff. Well, does the deal make sense? Are you still how long are you going to keep it? A 15% loan over a 30-year period, if you pay it off in 15 years, it's like borrowing money at 7.5%. So there's all kind, it doesn't matter what necessarily what it says on paper, it's how you deal with what your situation is. So that's just my experience on some of that stuff.
No, that definitely makes sense. And when Laura was saying that she does seller financing for the deal, I was like, well, yeah, I can tell she's gonna make the deal work.
Yes. Yeah, seller financing, I think, is very underrated. I think there's, you know, that more, we do a lot of that stuff, but, and I know Laura does too, but there's a lot more that people could do with it. And I think a lot of us walk away from deals that we might be able to just take over payments. I mean, back, I used, even when houses were upside down, I've taken over payments from people and, you know, and start doing it in 120 days, you know, but I want access to the property now. That gives them a solution for a property maybe they couldn't sell, but in the meantime, you could collect some non-refundable money down for somebody new that's going to maybe lease option the property from you. I don't do that anymore, but that's what, you know, one strategy. But you could sell it to them also on stuff like that, you know, on a solution like that, and where you can have your money up front. You might make $5,000 or $10,000 up front that's non-refundable. Then you start making payments for somebody else that you've worked the deal, you know, to them in 120 days. So you're actually making payments in the meantime. They're making payments to you in the meantime. By the time you start making the payments, you got a pretty good cushion of money sitting there. So that's just one little strategy on ways you can do that. But there's all kinds of things you can do when you start being creative and doing your own, you know, owner financing and your own financing.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Is there any update on this Corporate Transparency Act? Has everybody, I missed a couple sessions and I don't know if there's an update on that or not. Is that still a valid thing we have to accomplish? Do you know?
As far as I know, it is. I know there's been some lawsuits and some things, but that does not apply to us here in Missouri. And my the advice I got was you need to do it.
That's pretty much where I was. I
Mhm.
thought at this time we need to do it.
Yeah, I was told to. In fact, this is the right time to do it. You don't want to be the first and you don't want to be the last, but you want to go with the herd in this case, which a lot of times you don't. But in this particular case, you probably want to do it before November.
Yeah.
Just to have your information in there, because there's going to be a big rush at the end, even if they would change it for some reason. I know there's a lot of legislation looking at and things, but as it stands right now, Paul, yes, we need to do it in Missouri.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us today? Just a reminder on next Tuesday's meeting with the Cost Segregation Authority. That ought to be very informative on things you may not even know, on the tax deductions you can get on your current properties and on things you may have already done this year as far as improvements go. You might be able to get a deduction, or and there's some definite things that they're going to bring to our attention, which things I didn't even really know about. They're coming in from Utah, so this ought to be a pretty good meeting of some very, very knowledgeable people. So any of us that have investment properties, you want to make sure that you set your calendar for Tuesday. Again, there probably will be some virtual options. If you want to watch online, you'll have to check the website out for that, STLREIA.com. And that's Tuesday, the 17th, I believe. Yes.
Hello, sir. I'm new. My name is Daryl.
Hi, Daryl.
Just wanted to introduce myself. I can turn my camera on, I guess. I'm new. I just closed on my first property yesterday, so I'm getting into this world, and I'm sure many of you guys have been looking at YouTube like crazy and learning all this stuff. So, you know, I feel like I'm starting later in life at 53. You know, some of you guys, I'm sure, remember Carlton Sheets from back in the day when I was in college. I watched him on TV, and I wanted to do it, but I couldn't do it because I had kids. So now, now they're all grown. I have a little bit of money, so I'm getting into the real estate and going from there.
Are you in the St. Louis area, Daryl?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you haven't attended one of our meetings, I would encourage you to show up Tuesday. These are great networking sessions, though. A lot of people, different people come every week, but we've been doing this now. I believe it's our 234th uh, in a row Friday that we haven't missed since we started doing this. We have Ask the Attorney first Friday every month with Catherine Davis. She's the one that helped start that. So you're in a good group of people here. This is a safe group. You can ask any kind of question you want. There's probably somebody here that's done it, and there's a lot of new people like yourself that just come and listen and learn. So I definitely encourage you to stay with us here. But any kind of question you have, this is a great place.
Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to learning from some of the scars you guys have had. So I won't make the same, so I won't make the same mistakes because I know there's a lot of them to make out here, that's for sure. So
Yeah, and there's always something new too. I don't know if you were here earlier when I was talking about somebody that cloned one of my companies. That's something I have never ran into before. I've seen people doing a lot of crazy stuff over the years, but you never know what's going to happen. But this is a place where you can, just find out about stuff like that. Stuff that you may not find out anywhere else. YouTube's a great place, and I wish they would have had that when I first started many years ago. I would have found out a lot more. But then again, really, you're going to find out more, and like you say, the scars. But some of the ways you can avoid some of those scars, or maybe just to where you had a cut, you only need a Band-Aid instead of going through the full-fledged scar. Oh, and I think you're at a good age to do this too. I mean, you say, you may be a little older. I don't know about that. Because when you have kids and you have stuff going on, you've got a whole different life going on where now maybe you're ready for, to see some of the stuff going on in this kind of, investment area. Whether then I know when I was younger before, it was easier maybe just to do your 401, K or whatever, whatever you put money in every month working in the corporate field. Where out now, it's more like you're really running your own business. This is it's a lot different doing it yourself like that, but you're with people that does exactly what you want to do. A lot of different, we have beginners, we have, what I call part-timers, people that have full-time jobs and they do this on the side. Then we have a lot of lifetimers. A lot of us here, we've dedicated our lives to this now, and this is all we're ever going to do.
wow.
So,
Looking forward to it.
It's a great place, and I'm glad you're here, Daryl.
Okay, thank you, sir. A real quick question. You said there's a meeting on Tuesday?
Yes, the St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. It's at the Moolah Shrine Center. It's 12545 Fifi Road. The doors open at 6:30. If you're first time visitor, it's a free event. If you've visited before, it's $10 for repeat, or you can become a member. It's $75 a year. Now that's only for the rest of this year because they are raising it to $97, but that's for two people at the same address. So if you're not a member, I would encourage anybody here, renew or become a member before the end of the year, and you get a lot out of your membership. There's a lot of things in the member section on the website that you get as becoming a member. Plus you get to, you get the firsthand knowledge about stuff that we're doing as an actual group. So that's at STLREIA.com. So if you want to look that up, check that out, feel free to do so. And like I said, if you haven't been there, now we are moving. The Shrine Center will only be for a couple more months, and then they're moving to a new location, which all that'll be announced, in the next couple months, as soon as they get everything finalized on that.
Okay, gotcha.
We're going to meet here on Zoom from as long as I'm breathing.
Yes, sir.
So we've during the pandemic a few years ago, our attorney, in-house attorney, we call her Catherine Davis, she helped us get this started because we did not know what was going on with rental properties and all that kind of stuff, the court system. She helped us get all that started. So we started and we just haven't quit. And now she tunes in once a month. So any law questions you have or anything, feel free to come here. It doesn't cost anything. She still graciously meets with us once a month and answers any questions anybody has that comes here. So,
okay.
So we're happy with that.
Okay. Well, let me ask one quick question before we go then. When you're getting started, what is the best software, or what do you do to track your purchases or your bills for rental property? Is there a certain program or format that you use besides Excel, or is Excel what you should use?
That's a good question. Everybody has their own way of doing things like that. I personally don't have any kind of software like that. I know my accountant set me up with some years ago, and I used it for about a month and decided I wasn't doing that. I just do everything old fashioned way, put stuff in one thing at a time. I mean, if you get, it depends on how big you get. If if you get to where you need something, I would talk to your accountant though. Talk to other investors, people here too, see what they do. But really one size doesn't fit all. That's what I found with everything. You can just see what other people do and then make it your own anyway.
Okay. Good to
So does
go.
anybody have any suggestions on anything?
I'll chime in with my 2 cents.
Mhm.
So Daryl, yeah, okay, so I use QuickBooks for my financials. Again, what John said is correct. Not everybody needs QuickBooks, but I'm so glad I use it. And I've also hired a bookkeeper. Now she doesn't actually keep my books, but I give her like a small retainer fee monthly, and she answers any question I ever have, and she reviews my work monthly. And also when she got me set up, she basically taught me everything I didn't know. So she really educated me, which was huge.
Okay.
For anyone who's interested, I don't know why that's happening, but that's awesome. That's how I feel about my bookkeeper. Okay, those fireworks. I'll put her information in the chat in case anybody's looking for somebody like that, because she'll do the full bookkeeping, but if you don't need full services, she's just got that great middle of the road package. And I've just thought she was wonderful with me. I feel like she never makes me feel like I'm bothering her. She's answered 1 million questions, and I hardly have to ask her questions anymore because she got me so trained up. That's my answer about the financials and keeping track of expenses and income and things like that. But in my mind, there's another thing to think about, and it's how to track your leads. How to track, and I get that you're just getting started. I don't even know how you found your first deal. Congratulations, by the way. But if this is something that you're going to get hot and heavy with, and you're going to really be talking to a lot of people about property, I promise you it will not take long for you to not be able to keep that straight in your mind or even in a notebook. And so there are CRMs out there that can help you with this. And it has been so key to my business in the long term to do this. I use a very rudimentary system called Podio. They have a free version. It's just sort of like what I started with back in the day, and I've never gotten so fancy that I needed something else. So I can tell you about that, but a lot of people love PropStream and other things out there as well, that are a little bit more expensive, but totally worth the cost if you're building a business and following up on leads. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, Excel works. The bottom line at the end of the day is which system is best? It's the system that you're going to use. So if you're going to use an Excel spreadsheet to track leads, for example, as long as you've got a system that allows you to use it and truly be effective in your follow-up, that's the most important thing. Yeah, but I wanted to throw Podio out there because it's a really low cost thing to try out. Like I said, there is a free version. You don't necessarily need anything fancy, especially when you're getting started.
Okay.
For me, this was my QuickBooks problem, my Podio problem. I use REI Black Book sometimes now. That's another good system. But for me, it's always like that beginning phase of, I am so impatient about learning these things. But when I actually put in the time to learn how to use these tools, it pays off in spades down the road. So that's the other thing. It's like, for me, it always feels so foreign, and I get frustrated and I feel like I'm not making any money because I'm working on my system and all this. But every time I've made myself do it, it's paid off. So that's my 2 cents. I'll quit jibber jabbering, but I'll put my bookkeeper's info in the chat for anybody. She's real estate friendly, real estate focused.
Okay.
And yeah, that if you have any questions, let me know, but that's kind of where my thoughts are.
Thank you. Is she local to St. Louis or no?
She used to live in St. Louis. She used to live just across the river in Illinois, but she's since moved to Florida. Her husband had a job change, but she did it all virtually with me before she moved, and we've never missed a beat since she left.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she's very, very well connected with, I think most of her clients are in the St. Louis area just because she used to live here.
Okay, good. I appreciate that, ma'am. I'll definitely pull it off there, put that on the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Thank
Hey,
you, ma'am.
Daryl,
Yeah, congrats
Uh,
again on your first deal.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Daryl, I use a program called EngageBay, ENGAGEBAY.com. I put it in the chat. I'm a private money investor or broker, and that's where I keep all my contacts, whether they be clients or investment companies that I'm seeking funds from. But I'd say Excel is the best thing to use because you can rearrange the screens as you want when you're looking for deals and stuff like that. But if you're looking for a bigger place to add more information, then Engage Bay is a great place to do that.
So everything is about the scale and where you are and your comfortability as you're learning each other, the different platforms.
Uh, Excel allows you to do that, to track what dates you're looking at. But Engage Bay is a place where I put the name of my client and their address and all that. And then they have a place for notes. They have a place to upload documents. They have a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even use. And they keep me on track that way.
Gotcha. Okay. I will definitely look at that too. I appreciate that, sir.
Yep.
EngageBay.com. Okay. Let me see here. I'm gonna copy these here.
And they have a free, you can put in 100 contacts before it starts costing you money as well. So you you can add contacts up to 100. You can also delete contracts so that you stay under that 100.
Okay. All right. Just in that threshold. Okay. Got it. I thank you guys. I've learned some stuff already that I'm going to use. Yes, indeed. All
Yeah,
right.
great stuff. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, your accountant is going to be one of your key players on your team. I'll tell you that as far as investments go. And, you know, that's somebody you're going to want to work with too. Find somebody that knows your business because, like I kind of said, one size really doesn't fit all.
That's
Hey,
true.
John, I know we're running up against time, but you know, I recommended a bookkeeper, but my accountant, I'm looking for a new accountant. If anybody works with a CPA that they just love, I'd like to know, you know, if you'd like to recommend them, not because they're good enough, but because you really, really, really like working with them, I'd love to know who they are.
Well, I loved mine, but both of them died within the last few years. And then we had to get somebody new, and it's just not quite been the same.
Yep. Yeah.
So-
All good. I appreciate the honesty. Yeah.
I mean, he's okay, but
Yeah. I could definitely live with my people, but I wanna love them like I love my bookkeeper and my dentist. Like I love them. I'm
right.
looking for someone to love.
Exactly. Well, that's a key part of your team, and that's somebody you deal with all the time. The ones I had, which I had for many years, they helped us set up our LLCs, our S corporation. I could pick up the phone anytime; they would always answer. And then the one guy died. He got COVID, you know, in 2020. His wife died, then he died right away. Then the bookkeeper we had, then all of a sudden it was right after my dad died. She called me up, was gonna come to the funeral. I never heard from her. 2 weeks later, I found out she died. So all my stuff was just in a shambles. It was a mess. And I scrambled trying to find stuff, and I'm still not quite recovered from that. I mean, we found this new guy that a lot of people went to, and he's fine, but it's just not the same, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
Gotcha.
not. And so otherwise I'd be recommending mine, but I just, you know, I'd be happy to give you his name, but I wouldn't, you know, I don't love him, you know?
Yeah, no worries. I have time to figure this out, so I'm only looking for people to love. And then
Okay,
I'll do good
great.
enough later when I have more of a time crunch.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's something we may want to keep in mind too. If anybody does have a accountant they love and they want to share them with our group, keep that in mind for the future.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, coming up on the hour, I know we had a lot of good conversations today. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like I said, Tuesday, we have the Cost Segregation Authority coming in. So this definitely applies to investment properties. So, you know, if you have any ways you want to save money, which we all kind of do, I know as time goes on, and even some things you don't know about. These guys are really good. They did a meeting for us a couple years ago, and actually probably 4 years ago now, and I learned some things I didn't know. So I'm really looking forward to them coming in. So anyway, if nothing else, I guess we'll let you all go. It's good seeing everybody.
John,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
Ann. What time is that meeting Tuesday?
The doors open at 6:30. We usually network, and then they start about 7 o'clock. We go till about 9. Doors close about 9 o'clock. Sometimes we stay around networking, but usually I think people are pretty much ready to go. So hopefully we'll see you all then. If not, we will see you all next week. So thanks, everybody.